Greetings, everybody. Today is Thursday, the day that Jupiter rules, and Jupiter is in Taurus, and the moon moved into Taurus yesterday. But I really wanted to come in and talk about meaning. This has been one of the most profound lessons of my healing journey. Recognizing that we assign meaning. And I don't know if your mind works like my mind works, but my mind can be a meaning-making machine. There is, if you guys are familiar with the Course in Miracles, I'm not like a master of the Course in Miracles, but I've done it a few times. And they talk about this concept of like we name the things we see, basically. And the meaning that we give to the things in the external world, or things about ourselves, or feelings, the meaning that we assign to it becomes the experience that we have. And it is such a fucking trip, you all, to begin to, when I first started studying these concepts, even though I realized on some level that there was truth in it, because I was still healing trauma from trying to fit in, trauma from religion, trauma from racism, because I was still deeply rooted in the trauma experience, I couldn't see clearly what some of these spiritual philosophies really meant. That's what I'll say. I couldn't really experience them for myself. But now that I've healed enough of my trauma, or reoriented, because we just alchemize everything, right? Healing is a process of changing your mind. That's what healing is. It's a process of changing your mind. And so what I'm seeing so much is how we are born into a system where meaning has already been created, right? So, as a Black person, I'm going to use this as an example. You're born into a system where people are already telling you that racism exists, that it's out to get you, and that you're not safe. And because we inherit these meanings, those meanings create our reality, which is why we have years and years and years and years of a system like racism or classism or sexism, because everyone is preparing themselves, right? Well, make sure you teach your children that it's this way out there. Make sure you tell them that it's going to be like this, and make sure it's that. Make sure that they understand, make sure that they get it. And we do it oftentimes protecting, out of this belief of protection. It's almost like the kind thing to do. And what I'm starting to realize as I pull back the layers and shed the onion skin, and shed the snake skin, and shed the old beliefs, and let go of the meanings that I was born into, and then the meanings that I created over the ones that I was born into. And when I let them go, the universe now has an open canvas. And one of the things that I'm so clearly seeing now about the universe that I didn't fully see is, if you have the courage to believe in something, and if it's not blocked by fear or trauma or self-judgment or comparison, if you don't block your beliefs with old meanings, what can happen is remarkable. What can happen is eternal. What can happen is infinite, because you're not held up. You're not being held captive by your grandmother's story, or what your father believed about white people, or what, your mother told you about marriage, or what, you have to really purify your consciousness, your mind. You have to let go of the old narratives, the old meanings that you have created. And that is a journey of healing the inner child. That is a journey of looking at what you were told as a child. I was talking to someone recently, and they were sharing with me that they had a memory of being like 2 years old and being teased for having dark skin. And so we have to shed those meanings. As a 2-year-old, you don't know what that means, but you can feel it. You know it doesn't feel good. And then you can be 40 still holding on to the memory of something that happened when you were 2, and that meaning is still functioning in your life. It's blocking you. Am I making sense? Does this make sense? It's blocking you. So it is so important for us to do the work to take responsibility of the meanings we create, right? Like, I see it on social media all the time, like what it means to be a Black woman working in a white corporate office. If that's the meaning you put on, if you believe that, oh, I can't be myself there because they just want my energy, or if you believe that, if you create that meaning, then you are destined to have that experience. You are destined to have it. And that meaning likely is something that you inherited. That meaning is likely something that, maybe it's the thing that's going on in the collective, but maybe your great grandmother experienced that. And because you were in her womb, when you were but an egg, because you're in the womb of the generations before you, you inherited that belief. So you're destined to experience that energetic in some form or fashion in your lifetime, because if you haven't done the work to change the meaning, to reorient your mind, to understand that we are living in cycles that really don't have shit to do with us. It's the old shit. And how do we reorient ourselves to these old meanings? We celebrate the same holidays. We believe the same things. We go to the same schools. Right? And so, we eat the same foods. And some of that you can't get away from, but a lot of those belief systems and practices just don't have any relevance now, except that we keep believing them, except that we keep giving them meaning, except that we keep orienting ourselves to the belief system, which becomes karma. So this shit is so amazing because Pluto is about to go into Aquarius the day after tomorrow, or tomorrow. This is life-changing, you all. Like, we will never see this transit again in our lifetimes. We will never see Pluto in Aquarius again. And Aquarius is rebellion. It's freedom. It's the higher purpose. It's saying, I'm going to free myself from those old cords. I'm going to allow myself to be who I really, truly am. And it takes courage to do that. It takes courage to really break the confines of what everyone agrees to be yourself. I feel like that has been the path of my life, is to have the courage to really be myself. And what I have discovered is that it's like other people's belief systems overlay over our psyches, right? So my grandmother told me to believe in Jesus. That became something that took up years of my life. The other day I was realizing that the reason I got married, I really wanted to get married, but there had been a lot of interesting things that had happened and we had broken up. But I moved back home from New York. I was living in New York, and I moved back home because my aunt died, and I was home, and the person that I ended up getting married to, his brother, like, he was living with his brother and he was having a hard time, and I was living at home, and my aunt who I was living with was about to get married, so her husband was about to move in, and so I needed someplace to go. And he said, let's get married. And the woman who I was best friends with at the time said to me, you cannot live with somebody and not be married to them because that's a sin. So I got married. And my point is that I didn't do it consciously out of my deep desire. I did it because of what other people thought. it wasn't about me, really. There were aspects of it. Like when I went in and realized how challenging it was going to be, I soon got that I had to do this for myself, and I did. But initially, it was because of what other people thought. And this is what I'm talking about, Pluto in the age of Aquarius. You have got to have the courage to be unique to yourself. You're not going to be able to rest in your contracts with others. Those contracts are going to begin to disintegrate really rapidly. If you are doing things because other people think it's good for you, or because you want to fit in, or because you think it's going to fail. I want you to know. I want you to know it won't work any longer. Why? Because the South Node is moving through Libra, which is cleaning out our relationship sector, and Aries is in the North. And the North Node is in Aries, saying, have the courage to be true to yourself. And Pluto is moving into Aquarius, and it's going to be there for over 20 years. And that is saying it's time to rebel. It's time for revolution, right? And the revolution is inside of us. Let me tell y'all something. I have been watching this show called The Chosen. Now, I grew up Christian, and I had a really challenging time after I came out of Christianity because I felt like I had been lied to. I was really clear that it did not work. And so I went and started studying other things, and I have learned other things, and I am so grateful that I have, right? But in my own assurance of my own connection to the divine and understanding how it works, I've been able to go back and look at who the character Jesus Christ is, and what he was really offering. And one of the things that I realized was that Rome was the governing power at that time. The Hebrew people were under the rulership of Rome, like we are in America. And so they thought that Christ was coming, Jesus was coming to free them from the tyranny of oppressive government. But Jesus came to say, no, I'm not here for that at all. I'm here to free you from not knowing who you are. I'm here to free you from the confines of your own mind. I'm here to free you from within yourself. And that means to be yourself. I'm here to free you so you can really be who you're meant to be. And that's why, in the stories, like I call it mythology, he could sit with prostitutes and not judge them. He didn't say don't be a prostitute. He didn't say don't take people's taxes. He said I can be with the tax collector, I can be with the prostitute, I can be with everyone, because your individuality is what is God. We are not here to be the same, and we are no longer going to be able to fake it any longer because of Pluto going into Aquarius. We are here to be true to ourselves. That is the connection to the divine. That is how you get there, by being true to yourself. The God presence is within you. You cannot access it by believing in someone else. That's not how it works. I wish that it did. If it would have worked that way, I would have gotten here so much earlier, because I have believed in everybody but myself. So I just want to say, as this Pluto moves into Aquarius, it is time for us to really pull off the cloaks of our old ways of being. Release the old mind. Like, really get curious about who you are. Confront yourself. The ways that you are denying yourself, the ways that you are suppressing your energy, the things that you are giving your power to, the things that you are in pursuit of that are for the good of social acceptance. You want this car because it'll be socially acceptable. You want to be married because you want to fit, like you want to be safe in the world. Like those contracts are dissolving. Those contracts are dissolving. And so I love y'all so much. This is a powerful time to be alive. You all are welcome to come to Follow the Sun. Because what I have discovered is that The work is gentle and slow. It's not an all or nothing thing. It's all or nothing in some cases, like people get illnesses that are life-threatening and they have to change their lives right away. But that means that they have been denying a signal within them for a mighty long time if they have worked themselves into an illness, because everything is created. Your relationships collapse, your job ends, then it can be immediate. But if you want to do this work gently, come to Follow the Sun and I will teach you. Those contracts are indeed dissolving. Yes, they are. Thank you. Been having trouble accessing Mighty Networks. We'll try again today. Primal Rituals. I'll send you the link. You have to, it's easier to do it on a computer is what I want to say. So y'all, I'm excited. I love y'all. I think I've said enough. Share the video if this is supportive to you. And we getting it, y'all. We getting it. We are waking up. Who we are meant to be is a secret to us. We don't even know. We don't even know who we're meant to be. And you can access Follow the Sun in my link tree. We don't know. We haven't touched the hem of the garment yet of what we're capable of. We have not touched the hem of the garment of what we are capable of. It's amazing, y'all. Okay, peace. Bye-bye.